Previous class we have discussed about the different control statements and how we have actually created an object by using a new operator as well as the braces. We'll discuss about the arrays. So I think most of you are like familiar with this concept. So arrays are nothing but the list of elements indexed by a numerical value. So as we have already seen, the index always starts from 0 earlier. So here also we'll start the index from 0 itself. And arrays can be modified in size even after they have been created. So the basic declaration will be like var sum x, which is an array. So within this braces, we'll have a set of elements here. Okay. So here you can see the main difference. So if it's a flower braces, we can array is also an object. So the basic object, how do you create is like using this notation. If you want to create an array object, you have to use this braces. So array object creation, here arrays can be used using the new array method. So as you have done for a normal object, so array is itself an object, right? So here we can use a new keyword and we can declare the particular array with the parameter as 10. So new array with one parameter creates an empty array of the specified number of elements. So how many elements you are going to specify here, that much space it will occupy. So if you want to add a new element also, it is possible with the arrays to add the new element. And new array with two or more parameters creates an array with the specified parameters as elements. So if you give more than one variable, it rather specifies like, okay, these are the parameters that has to be passed to the function or some kind of object. Okay. So here we can see the notation of an array. We are using the square brackets to include a list of elements. So elements of an array do not have to be of same type. So it is not mandatory that it has to contain only some numbers only or an alphabet only. It can be a combination as well. So this document.write we have already discussed. It's nothing but you want to print something on your screen. You have to use this document.write, and this will be your some particular position of the, like for example you have a cars object, array object. In that you want to retrieve the output as first of you want this first element. So the index, as the index starts from 0, so the output will be like this. So characteristics of array objects. The length of an array is one more than the highest index to which a value has been assigned, or the initial size, using the array with one argument, whichever is larger. For example, if the array size is 12, as the index starts from 0, you have to make sure like 0 to 11 will be a total of 12. The length will be 12. And array to an index greater than or equal to the current length simply increases the length of the array. So the statement is quite clear. So it is like if it's greater than or equal to the current length, it simply increases the length of the array. So we'll see some examples on the array objects. Fruits text, and this fruits is an array object which has a set of different types of fruits. So if I want to know the length of a array, we can use this property, length property. Okay, fruits dot length, it will retrieve the length of the array and we can have it stored in one variable which is already declared here. Okay, so now till now what we have seen is like we have coded, like we have given the tags in the HTML itself, right? Now we are dynamically adding HTML tags in the JavaScript part. Okay, so with the help, like now dynamically we are adding a ULLI, unordered list elements, using scripting. So how do you actually do it? So in scripting, whenever you want to start any HTML tag, you have to specify it within a double quotes, which means like the browser has to interpret as an HTML element. Okay, and then you are now opening a UL element, and the whole elements are stored in this variable text. Okay, so this text which is written within the for loop is iterated n number of times to print the all fruit elements. For example, you have opened a UL element. So within the UL element, you will have multiple LIs, right? Multiple list elements. So you are trying to iterate it. So you have taken some I is equal to 0 less than total length of the fruits. So how many fruits are there? Till that length you are going to consider here. And this is your iteration. So text plus is equal to, this is a shorthand operator, as we have already seen. This can also be written as text equal to text plus. Okay, it is equivalent to text equal to text plus. Instead of, we will use a shorthand operator here. So these are all factors which are like best coding standards to implement. So better to use the shorthand operators and optimize your code. So now I have opened an li tag. Within the li tag, I am going to write an like this fruits of I means. So how many times the length is there? Like overall the total length it will repeat, and this many li's are printed. Now again for the same element, you have closed this particular tag. Now the iteration is done in this loop, and you have closed this UL tag. So overall the complete HTML text with the elements is here, and we are like putting into the demo ID which we have already written in our HTML portion. So demo is the ID of the paragraph element. So in this space you are going to print. So this is a simple example of how do we iterate through the loop, and how do we dynamically add the HTML elements in our script part. Okay, till now we have seen the elements in our HTML, right? .html. So in future, when we are going to deal with more critical things, like we need to add elements dynamically using the JavaScript, we often use this kind of methodology to actually add the tags. So these are the elements that we have iterated, and we have so using the script we have appended like ul, li. Okay, so that can be observed here. Okay, suppose only if 150 elements to 171 were assigned values, and only 25 assigned values would be allocated storage, and other 175 would not be allocated storage. Okay, so if you have taken these element numbers, then the other elements will not be allocated storage here. And methods in arrays. So we have seen one of the length property, right? So array has different methods like join, reverse, sort, concat, and slice. Example, pop method. Commas and stars, we have already seen an example. Okay, I'm just going to show the examples of some push or pop. Okay, that was popped out. So if you want to remove some element from the array, like using this pop method, it removes the last element from an array. And this push method adds a new element to an array at the end. And shifting is like equivalent to popping, working on the first element instead of the last element. That is the difference between a shift and a pop. So shift method actually removes the first array element and shifts all the other elements to the lower index. So this is one of the example of pop.html. You have a list of fruits. Okay. Now you are trying to have all the list in your demo, this ID. And now using a particular function, you are trying to pop the elements. So here within your script tag, you have all the different types of fruits, right? In your object fruits, array object. So this particular fruits we have placed in our p tag. So that is the reason you can find these elements here. And then we have a function, like on click of the button, we are calling my function. Like when I click on this try it, we are actually trying to pop the elements. You can see, right? We have already popped the last element will be removed. So this mango which is removed will be the output which is shown here. Okay. Whatever the element is removed, that will be showed here. So similarly, you can use the shift and unshift also. You can just manipulate this example and try to use the other methods. About the nested arrays as well. So I'm just moving forward to the next slide. So function fundamentals. Okay. So here function definition syntax. A function definition consists of a header followed by the compound statement. Like we'll describe like function space function name. Like as we have seen in our example, and we can pass some parameters if required. It's an optional parameter. Functions will obviously return the statements, and a return statement causes a function to cease the execution and control the pass to the caller. So, for example, you have you have written some function xyz of something, and you are returning return x. At this statement, what happens if your function is assigned to some variable, some p? So after this return x, your function will be stopped. So it will stop its execution and control the pass to the caller. So whoever has called this function, like on click of this function, or you're trying to place in some variable, or where is the on click actually, button on click is equal to xyz, some function will be there, right? It will pass the control to that particular position. So a return statement may include a value which is sent back to the caller, and this value may be used in an expression by the caller. So here I have used an expression, right? If I whatever the return value, if I have placed it in p, right, I can use this p which has this return value x. So a return value without a value implicitly returns undefined. Syntax. So we have already seen, right? These are the syntaxes followed by parentheses and any actual parameters. And function must be defined before we use in a page header. As we have seen array objects, functions are also objects in JavaScript, and functions may therefore be assigned to variables and to the object properties. So this function, whatever we are writing, the return value can be assigned to a like even if it doesn't return also, I mean like function returns a value, the return values can be assigned to a variable and to the object properties as well. So here you can see the example. So object properties that have the function values are the methods of the object. A function to some reference function which is also pointing to the same function. Okay. So if you call function, it will call this function. If you call ref function, also a call to function. It is nothing but it's referring. The address is same, but it is just referring. Okay. So we have a local variables concept in functions. The scope of the variable is a range of statements over which it is visible. For example, you have a whole page of code, and within that whole, web page you have multiple functions. If you want to use a variable within a particular function only, but not outside that particular function, in that case we call it as a local variable, or we make the scope as local variable. If it's like variable is not declared using a var, has a global scope. So whatever the variable we write within that function and wanted to be accessible in that particular function only, we will have the declaration inside the function like var x is equal to 10, and this variable cannot be used outside of that particular function. For example, if we want that particular variable to be used across the web page, then in that case we will have to like use this a variable not declared using, we should not declare it using a var variable. It has a global scope and it can be used throughout the web page. So this whole slide is talking about this uh, local and as well as global variable. And if a variable is declared as var inside the function definition, then it has a local scope. Okay. So that is a major difference between a local and a global variables. Now we are discussing about the parameters. So parameters named in a function header are called as a formal parameters, and the parameters used in a function call are called actual parameters. Like see, you are calling some function like function name of a comma b comma c, and there is a place where you are actually passing 10 comma 20 comma 30. So this a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, or c is equal to 30. In that case abc will be like a formal parameters, and your like function header has this for formal parameters, and you have the actual parameters like 10 20 30. In that case this actual parameters are going to replace with this formal parameters, and the parameters are passed by the value. So for this object parameter, the reference is passed, so the function body can actually change the object. And however, an assignment to a formal parameter will not change the actual parameters. So I'll just show you an example. How do we pass a parameters to a function? Okay. And you have a array called list2, which has 3 elements, 1, 3, 5, which is stored in this list element 2. Okay. And what you are trying to do is like my list of 3 is equal to 14. Here you are assigning this list to the my list variable, which you are passing it as parameters. For example, you have taken a new array like 2 4 6 5, and you are passing this list to the function 1. What happens? These values will be passed here. Like the first assignment changes list in the caller. The second assignment has no effect on the list object in the caller. Like the first assignment what we have done, right? It has the changes in the caller, and the second assignment which we have done has no effect on the list object. So pass by the reference can be stimulated by passing an array containing the value here. So if you see the output, you can understand well. We are actually trying to show the actual and the formal parameters. So when you click on this particular function, we are passing the parameters called Harry Potter and Wizard. These are the two parameters which are going to like this will be taken care. Okay, name will be your Harry Potter and job will be your Wizard. So these are passed here, and when you are actually trying to print this particular statement, I mean here, okay, you are trying to write welcome, which is will be printed on your browser, and this name and job will be printed here. So these are actually a parameters that we are passing to the function. Okay, this will be like actual parameters and this will be a formal parameters. So this can be either x or y as well. Okay, any variable it will take care of. So in order to be meaningful, we have given like name and job. So JavaScript checks neither the type nor the number of the parameters in a function call. So the formal parameters have no type specified. So when we are actually giving the formal parameters, we are just giving some x comma y, or we are not defining like which data type it is. Okay, so the actual parameters are ignored. However, we can see here. So whatever you are giving the actual parameters like 10 comma 20 in the formal parameters, like in your header collar, like you have given some Harry Potter and some Wizard, right? So these, for these two types we haven't specified any data type, like sorry, like name and job. Those two are the formal parameters for which we have not specified any data type, and this extra actual parameters are ignored. So for example, if you are passing some only two variables, so the appropriate function will be called. If your variable, if your function has three variables, then it will not like recognize, like it will not pass that particular variable. Okay, this can be ignored. And if there are a few actual remain undefined, so here this is your formal. So if there are fewer actual parameters, like these are your actual parameters, like these are 10 and 20, then the formal parameters. Formal are number, you have 3 here, you have 2 here, 2 parameters here. So the extra parameter, what is the extra parameter? C will remain undefined. So it is not defined. So it will have an undefined value. It's not nothing, it's undefined. If you declare any variable, if you don't assign it, it will become undefined, right? So the same here, scripting languages, and a property array named arguments holds all of the actual parameters, whether or not there are more of them than there are formal parameters. So a property array, you have some set of arguments, right? That has holds all the actual parameters, and I will show it with the help of an example right now. Right, function 10 comma 20 actual and function 8, and the extra actual parameters are ignored. For example, if I have some 10, 20, 30 and 40, okay, so now I am passing these values to this formal things. In that case, the extra values 40 will be ignored. Okay, this 40 will be ignored as we have only 3 formal parameters and we are performing actions on top of it. In another case, if there are fewer actual parameters, okay, I have only 10 and 20, and the extra formal parameters like C is an extra formal parameter, right? In this case, C will be undefined. So these are the two things. So to explain about this arguments and actual parameters, I am going to show you an example here. Here these are my actual parameters, okay? And what are my formal parameters here? A comma B are my formal parameters and these are my actual parameters. I am calling a function called param and I am passing only one value. But I have two formal, one actual here. So two formal and one actual, what happens? The second argument, like the second value, will be ignored here. and the output will be, it will show only Mozart here. Okay. JavaScript file, I am writing function params was paused and arguments dot length. So how many arguments I am passing here? So if you see here down, I have passed only one argument here. So the output I have seen here is like arguments dot length will be how many parameters I have passed. I have passed only one parameter here, Mozart. So the output will be the function params was passed one parameter, and that is Mozart. In the second case, in the second function, I have passed two parameters. So again you will have the output as I have passed arguments dot length will return your number of parameters here. Okay. Arguments dot length will return your number of parameters, and as I am iterating through the different number of arguments here, okay, I am able to print this. Okay, argument of arg will be my distance. So last function you have passed 3, so you are able to see 3 parameters. So the parameters values are, we are iterating through different arguments and we are trying to print the values here. Can be passed to the sort method to specify how to sort the elements in an array. So simply sort method helps out to help, like it helps to sort the different types of elements in your array. And this median example which we have already seen earlier, we'll just discuss here. Sort method of a comma b. So your a comma b will be the set of values that you are providing here. So this median of list, right? So if you can see here, here is your median function and you are passing my list one. So my list one has this set of values. Okay. You are trying to sort the values like a comma b. These are your um, formal parameters, and the below you have provided the given parameters. So return of a minus b. So based on this return type, if like we are trying to do the entire logic, like first parameters should come before the second. So if a minus b is negative here, we'll indicate like first parameter should come before the second, and the function returns a positive value to indicate the first parameter should come after the second. If it's a return value is a positive value. If it's a 0, to indicate the first parameter and second parameter is equivalent as far as the ordering is concerned. So based on that particular median.js sort method logic, we have written this few things. You can observe, try making an examples here. Now we are moving to another concept called constructors. That create and initialize properties for the new objects. So the specialty of constructors is like it instantiates itself. As we have already seen in our Java and other languages, I think you are well aware of the constructors. So it uses the keyword. Okay. This is the body to the reference of the object being initialized, and object methods are the properties that refer to the function. So within the constructor, if you give some parameters, right, it will act as an actual parameters which are passed to a functions. Now moving on to your regular expressions. regular expressions are used to specify the patterns in the strings. And this, what is the actual purpose of using a regular expressions, we need to understand. Okay. Specifying the patterns in the strings. And we have certain methods in our JavaScript like string methods and regex objects. Okay, so there are two types that we can use this regular expressions. And a literal regular expression pattern is indicated by including the pattern in slashes. Like for example, if we take, okay, so we are specifying like these are the kind of variables. We are like specifying some pattern of a I will show you one more example here. Are funny, this is your entire string. So you want to search like string, using string you are trying to search. Okay, using the string methods you are trying to search. If you are given slashes here, like this is a notation how we use a regular expression. If position greater than 0, we are trying to get this, which position we are getting this particular bits that will be returned as an output here. Okay, will give you a position where exactly this has occurred. So output it will appear in position 3 as this is calculated from here. See, it starts with 0, 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So meta characters have a special meaning in regular expressions. So in regular expressions we use all this meta characters, slash, pipe, okay, braces, different kinds of braces. And these characters may be used literally by escaping them with slash. So whenever you write this particular characters, right, you have to use this slash, like literally we have to use this slash symbol. Other characters represent themselves. Okay, a period like a dot matches any single character. So there are some specific rules here we need to understand, we need to go through them very well. If we want to give some character set like A to Z, okay, like these pattern matchings are generally useful for doing validations and all in a real time. So if you want to check whether username is a alphanumeric. Alphanumeric means it's a combination of numbers and the alphabets. So in that case, you will write a regular expression within the you will write. Okay, I'll show you the regular expression for a alphanumeric here. This is a regular expression for the alphanumeric. Alphanumeric means alphabets. It can be either small a to small z, capital A to capital Z, numeric 0 to 9. So I will tell you the importance of this one and the last one. So it notates the exponent symbol, notates the start of a string. How do you actually start a string? So this is a regular expression generally we use for alphanumeric. For example, you are writing a code like to validate your username, which has to be alphanumeric. In that case, in form of validations, we'll use this regular expression. This is your start of string, beginning of the character group. A to Z is lowercase, uppercase, any digit. This is your underscore character and this is your end. So star means 0 or more of a given characters. Okay. Ending we'll notate with dollar symbol. Okay. This is how you actually write a regular expression. This is an example here. You have the equivalent patterns, digits. See, name is, it is a digit from 0 to 9. Capital D means it starts with, it's like exponent notates like it's not a digit. Not a digit means it can be an alphabet or so, okay? Or special characters except the digits. So this will take care. So escape character and capital small w means this thing. A word character alphanumeric. This one not a word. This is white space, not a white space. So these are the equivalent patterns. Repeated matches. A pattern can be repeated a fixed number of times by following it with a pair of curly braces enclosing a count. For example, if you want to repeat that particular pattern, you have to give like this, curly braces. So might repeat a telephone number. For example, you have a telephone number like 546 345 and a 4 digit. Okay, in that case, we can use this validations. Okay. And this notates like only small a to z numeric, and this is your alphanumeric. It's a combination. So star indicates 0 or more repetitions. This is for repetitions we are using of the previous pattern, and plus indicates 0 or more of the previous pattern, and question mark it indicates like 0 or more of the previous pattern. So these are certain rules that are for pattern matching. So like try to experiment doing these different kinds of patterns by observing these things. Anchor is a regular expression match positions rather than characters. So it will match the positions, anchors. So anchors are 0 bit and may not take multiplicity modifiers. Like for example, we have seen right earlier, it can be multiple, it can be repeated, right? Here it will not take any multiplicity. It will take only the trying to get the positions here. So anchoring to the end of the string, like exponent at the beginning of the pattern matches the beginning of the string, and dollar at the end of the pattern matches the end of the string. So dollar in A, dollar B. Anchoring at a word boundary. So this slash B matches the position between the word character and a non-word character at the beginning of the end of a string. So I think we can see them with the help of an example. You have to mention this escape sequences, okay? Slash, and then within this you have to write the will match the but not the theater, and will also match the, for example, if you have a sentence, okay? You have theater is there at the end. So when you give this kind of pattern, it will match the, I mean, it has to be like this, like this entire word, it cannot break it down and get the here. It has to be like nothing before and nothing after, like this kind of notation. That is we have discussed, right, this one for regex objects. Okay, object that defines a pattern of characters here. So the regular expression are used to perform pattern matching and search and replace functions on the text. If you want to search a particular kind of text and replace it, you can have it. This is the syntax, slash pattern slash modifiers. And this is your example, W3 school slash I. So let us see what an I will do here, which is a modifier here. So W3 schools is your pattern which has to be used in a search. Okay, and I is a modifier, modifies the search to be case insensitive. Okay, this is not case sensitive. Let us see the example here. performs case insensitive matching. So you are searching for a particular string called W3 schools in your sentence. In your sentence, you are trying to search a word called W3 schools. So irrespective of the capital letters or small letters, this modifier will help you to retrieve the particular word search, word output. Okay, this is your example here. So this is your string which has a visit W3 schools. This is your pattern. The string what you have to search is W3 schools. This is your pattern slash I. I is your modifier which searches irrespective of the case, whether it is uppercase or lowercase. Okay, and you got the written result in your PATT1 variable. Now string dot visit dot W3 schools dot method match method of. So it will match and retrieve the output as W3 schools here. Okay. So this is one. You can try out different modifiers here. I, G. Okay. So split method. I'll show you the split method. It takes a pattern parameter and a string parameter. So we have certain methods in regular expressions: pattern, split, replace, match, split. So match we have seen in our earlier example, right? In the similar case, try to use these patterns like slash g or slash I and use the methods replace as well as split. Okay. Pattern matching here. We are trying to test the pattern of a phone number. We have given a certain pattern, like it's a digit slash d, digit of 3 digits, as well as a digit of like 4 digits separated by this underscore. So when you understand, when you get things about the pattern, like when you by heart or you just remember those things, what are the different kinds of characters we have, okay, and what is the importance of slash d, I, g and all, then you will be able to write your own pattern matchings. And this is mainly useful for validations in JavaScript. So if you are passing parameters like 3 fours hyphen 5432, which is matching this particular pattern. So every time the method of the pattern matching, search is a method of the pattern matching, and you have to always use this escape sequences. Within this escape sequences, you have to write down your related pattern. Okay. So this is matching here, right? So in this case, what happens if of TST? So this is true anyways, right? It will return true. So if of true, then you will print like it's a legal phone number. Otherwise, it's not a legal phone number. In the similar way, if we send this one, it will fail obviously because it is not a digit. Okay, not a legal phone number. It will give. So this is a simple example of a pattern matching. You can try out different examples here. Okay, we are almost done with the class. Console and see the errors. Okay, so that is what it is written here. You can debug your JavaScript HTML documents, how to manipulate the DOM and all. So that is for today's session. If you have any doubts, you can just send me an email. Okay, thanks all.